Podcast, wide open, woke sessions. Mind, body, soul, no second guessing. Spilling truths, no sugarcoat dressing. Wisdom hunting, cash and knowledge blessing. Hands to the streets, wide open and woke. Eyes on the prize, ain't no time for jokes, lies and highs. These chains we roll, truth on the mic, destiny and vote. Hands to the streets, wide open.
Hey, this is Wide Open World Podcast with Audi Rob. Hey, and today we're going to finish up on the Aeon of Horus. You will see in part 4, as we bring it to a conclusion, how NASA and the occult dark magic has always been one entity. And now that the dark occult hides behind NASA. That's why NASA was always off. Like, NASA should know certain things, and they should come out with certain things. They know things already. They just been keeping it secret. NASA's going to have to come out with more than with what they've been hiding. You're going to find out more about NASA in the near future, coming up very shortly. But let's get into, without further ado. Oh, yeah. So part 3 left off talking about how they were using electronics to bring dimensional entities in and bring them in as flesh and blood into this realm. As like when you guys are talking about, like, when you transport, when Scotty would transport and beam you over from the Star Trek, from the other part, from out in space and into the Star Trek, the beam part. Well, that's like transporting. Well, yes, it's in some way like that. We were bringing in another body into another dimension, and they were transporting. So this is what they were doing in Miami. Those kids, those 4 boys at that mall that have been kept quiet, that you guys been keeping quiet for the longest, you didn't hear nothing about those 4 boys. Yeah, well, they knew about those secrets. They opened that portal using those electronics, and that's what brought those beings in. And that was a true event. So yes, I'm gonna bring in on this part where they're talking about that. So I did kind of back it up a little bit so you can hear about this electronic stuff with the entities coming in from another dimension, so you can hear it for yourself. But yes, I went back a little bit so you can hear that. But without further ado, let's go.
Dr. Stephen Greer has gained high-profile notoriety by organizing the Disclosure Initiative to raise public awareness of the UFO issue. Yet while Greer publicly lobbies to convince us that all extraterrestrial aliens are benevolent, enlightened beings here to spiritually advance corrupt humanity, he publicly admitted knowledge of top-secret government projects whereby demonic astral entities can be materialized into our 3D reality using sophisticated electromagnetic technologies. In a Project Camelot interview with Dr. Greer in July of 2009, he stated, "I have had more than a dozen people who have worked in facilities in Dulce, New Mexico, and in Pine Gap, Australia, and other places where they have actually been growing the gray and reptilian species that people think are ETs, and that the people who have been in the projects think they're working alongside an alien, and they're not. They're absolutely what are called nanobiomachines. They are programmed life forms, and there is no question that such is going on." Greer further revealed, "We have some at Lockheed and another program, I can't say where it is, and they have developed electromagnetic systems where they can put someone in a state and they can go into a lower astral or denser astral field. Some would call this demonic. And they can actually see beings and creatures there and bring them in 3-dimensional and materialize them into flesh and blood through these electronics."
Yep. They did it. Miami Mall, down in them Miami Mall incident. Prime example.
Former FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover stated, "The individual is handicapped by coming face to face with a conspiracy so monstrous he cannot believe it exists. The American mind has simply not come to a realization of the evil which has been introduced into our midst. Demons don't just happen, they are deliberately invoked." In 1939, astrologer Wilhelm Wolff described a secret research program within Adolf Hitler's Third Reich with ambitions to combine sophisticated, high-tech military science with occult black magic, to harness not only natural but supernatural forces, all intellectual, natural, and supernatural sources of power, from modern technology to medieval black magic, and from the teachings of Pythagoras to the Faustian pentagram incantation, were to be exploited for the interests of final victory. Do we dare consider that even today, world leaders at the highest levels of power are a fraternity of occult practitioners who deliberately engage demonic forces to ravage the unsuspecting mass of humanity, as well as the earth itself, in return for vast political power, wealth, and prestige? A blood covenant that dooms humanity to wholesale death and enslavement. There are cosmic rules of play that require humans en masse must give consent to their corrupt, oligarchical rulers in order for these demonic hyperdimensional entities to work with such rulers, to advance their evil anti-human agenda. If true, this means that if humans withdraw consent en masse, these demonic entities cannot continue to advance their hideous agenda. Unfortunately, ignorance of this unholy agenda allows consent by default. The Holy Bible bluntly states, "Our contest is not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities, against the world rulers of this present darkness, against spiritual forces of evil who live in heavenly places." Charles Taze Russell, founder of Jehovah's Witness, prophesied that on October 2nd, 1914, the beginning of the end of humanity would commence with the emergence of the Antichrist, as foretold by the Book of Revelation. Jack Parsons was born on that prophetic day.
So Jack Parsons is the Antichrist?
Returning now to the story of famed rocket scientist Jack Parsons, it seems that he was himself involved in a demonic ritual to create a programmed life form. Parsons had a sex magic partner in the Ordo Templi Orientis Lodge named Marjorie Cameron. While staying with a friend in Hollywood, Marjorie confessed that she had been part of the Babylon working ritual. She said that it had been devised by Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard, Aleister Crowley, and Manhattan Project scientists based at the Los Alamos Atomic Bomb Research Unit, headed by Jewish scientist Robert Oppenheimer.
Wow.
Marjorie confessed that during the Babylon working ritual, assisted by L. Ron Hubbard, Jack Parsons had sexually impregnated her at the point when the spirit of the Antichrist was bestowed upon him. Cameron Parsons had been made pregnant with the child of the Antichrist. On a 40-day pilgrimage in the Mojave Desert, the place where Area 51 now resides, Parsons summoned forth Babylon, the Scarlet Woman, the whore of the apocalypse, the consort of the great beast Satan. According to Hubbard, during the ritual he saw Parsons rip a hole in space-time and something flew in. Author and inventor of the new cult religion Scientology, Mr. L. Ron Hubbard, former initiate of Aleister Crowley's Ordo Templi Orientis, wrote a so-called sacred text called Dianetics, which now has an inspired following of evangelical millionaires in Hollywood, just as the Kabbalah training schools are now full of people who had their interest in these Judaic magical techniques inspired by Britney Spears and Madonna.
Mhm.
This giant Babylon working ritual saw Parsons, aided by his magical protege, L. Ron Hubbard, project their astral bodies into the dark abyss of Lucifer. 1948 saw George Bush Sr. baptized in the name of the demonic spirit Magog. That same year, Jack Parsons baptized himself as Belerion, Armilus, Al-Dajjal, the Antichrist. Parsons' twisted intent was to breed what the Kabbalah calls a golem. A golem is an artificially created humanoid, usually made from dead human body parts, which is animated by the magician chanting incantations and mantras. These magical voice sounds are what Kabbalists call twilight.
Putting body parts together and bringing them together and making them alive, like magic. What does that sound like? Frankenstein. Ah, that's where they got it from. This is some wild stuff. I'm telling you, y'all, it's crazy.
Language. Isaac Bashevis Singer, winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature, once wrote, "The Kabbalah teaches that dead matter is not really dead, but can be brought to life, as a golem, by chanting mantras. We are living in an epoch of golem making right now, the rise of artificial intelligence." Jack Parsons told his former master that the fetus of the golem was later extracted from the womb of Marjorie Cameron Parsons by government agents who delivered it to a special team at the Manhattan Project atomic bomb facility. Creation of the Philosopher's Stone, to master alchemy at its highest level by changing one element into another, was accomplished by the Manhattan Project scientists, who changed uranium into plutonium, one of the highest secrets of alchemy. And where did the alchemical masters of the S1 Committee of the Manhattan Project meet? They brought their occult science talents together in the chalet at Bohemian Grove. While men wearing owl masks and black robes listened to the manic laughter of Satan, it was at Bohemian Grove where the consummation of thousands of years of alchemical atomic research took place, nothing less than the birth of the bomb. The power of the atom was harnessed by the United States Army's Manhattan Project during the war, and on July 16, 1945, in an act of wanton technological sorcery, that power was unleashed with the Trinity atomic bomb test in New Mexico. A group of American scientists led by Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer gathered in a remote area of New Mexico at the 33rd parallel known as Jornada del Muerto, or Journey of Death. There at 5:29 a.m. on July 16, 1945, the military detonated the first ever atomic bomb. American author Michael Hoffman, in his book Secret Societies and Psychological Warfare, speculates that Marjorie Cameron's golem fetus may have been placed inside a giant 25-foot long, 12-foot in diameter canister. This mysterious canister was nicknamed Jumbo. It was made of solid lead and cement. It is conceivable that the fetus was placed in the center of this canister and irradiated with the blast of the world's first atomic bomb, thus infusing the demon child with what Kabbalists called the demonic force of atomic fire. 2 years later, Jack Parsons revealed to his mother that his golem child had lived, and that it was female. A fan of ancient Hindu mantras was the Jewish Kabbalist genius J. Robert Oppenheimer. His team of Manhattan Project scientists took advanced alchemy to its absolute evil limits, and appropriately upon detonation of the Trinity device, Dr. Oppenheimer, the bomb's designer, uttered the occult Vedic invocation, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." Oppenheimer and his group of scientists called the first atomic bomb Trinity, but was this in reference to the Christian Trinity? Or was it in reference to the great beast, the Scarlet Woman, and the Antichrist? Had Aleister Crowley's Aeon of Thelema come to fruition? Thelema is the Greek word for willpower. As Crowley predicted, it appears we are in the age of Thelema, where the whole of humanity is now at the mercy of the demons his black magic has unleashed. But Crowley's magic is not omnipotent. Humans are fully capable of engaging their own willpower to stop this abomination. More than mindless cattle, only capable of reacting and responding, we have forgotten that we are creatures of intention, of creation. If we can remember that, wake that up in ourselves, we have a chance. There is an invisible realm of real but unseen discarnate personalities. It is in these invisible realms that the elite seek their power. They commune with a populace of entities, many of which are malevolent and responsible for the pollution, wars, pestilence, and destruction on planet Earth. It is perhaps mankind's greatest challenge to stop Freemasons and black magicians from accessing these spirits of dark worship. We all have a role to play in the banishment of the satanic elite. You are either part of the problem or part of the solution.
I agree. I agree to that. You're part of the problem, you're part of the solution. When you look at this right here, how they connected everything. So now I can see how those 4 boys got together and they made that machine that actually brought that spirit flesh, opened that portal. There's going to be a lot more things like that happening. It's as more and more people start to get a hold of this knowledge and figure out how to open these portals, and then get to messing around, opening a portal by accident. Oops. Yep. Stuff like that's going to be happening. This is wild. So, what'd you think about the video? Pretty cool, huh? I got a lot of those videos. Matter of fact, I don't know how I'm going to start on the 9/11 thing, because I got so many 9/11 videos. It's crazy. And it just shows how the government actually set everything up. It was our own government that killed its own people, that did everything. Our government's so doggone backwards. They caused all the stuff that happened and turn around and point the finger at the next guy like somebody else did it. No, it was y'all from the inside up. It's just that y'all left such a mess behind, then y'all didn't clean it up, and then y'all mess from behind that you left behind came in and did some things, and y'all had to go and clean them up. But see, we did some messed up stuff, y'all. Y'all ain't heard about everything yet. But the truth is coming out. Just like what Cat Williams said, the truth is coming out. There's some things that a lot of stuff has happened that we won't know the truth of, and that it will be coming out shortly. So, but anyway, love, peace, and light. That was in continuation of the part 4, which was kind of very short. There to the Eye of Horus, the Aeon of Horus. So I'll be coming behind with some more content shortly and keep you guys informed. But until then, we got a lot of love, peace, and life for you. Ashe, ashe, and ashe.
Blast wide open, woke sessions. Mind, body, soul, no second guessing. Spilling truths, no sugarcoat dressing. Wisdom hunting, cash and knowledge blessing. Hands to the streets, wide open the road. Eyes on the prize, ain't no time for jokes, lies and highs. These chains we roll, truth on the mic, destiny and vote. Hands to the streets.